Thanks.
What? I gotcha! You see, because you were all excited, and then boom!
G'day folks, it's Argonian. This is the most must-see and subscribe Argonian on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius, or should I say, the online ambassador Black Marsh, Bruzo Dragonius, give or take, which you can just comment down below, which one is your favourite. With this episode of Argonian.POV, it's going to be no laughing matter. Even though that normally I make videos just to entertain each and every one of you on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But it just brought us to our concern and to everyone else's concern, besides us, that ever since early this year there has been a pandemic of the coronavirus. And I know this video is recorded on the 15th of August 2020. This virus has been in, as you know, in all corners of the globe, perhaps except for Antarctica. Because, let's just face it, there's like, you know, Antarctica is basically a restricted area. You know, this is that for, and anyone just being in Antarctica. But that's besides the point. We all know that COVID-19, which is its actual name, even though that we just call it as the coronavirus, is a deadly disease that all of mankind is facing today. Because the fact being is that, as far as you know, in some places, like here in Australia, and especially Victoria, where it's coronavirus, it has risen to about around, give or take, 100,000 deaths, or perhaps 700 people deaths so far in Victoria, give or take. Even though that I didn't do any research on the statistics of the coronavirus pandemic and that, but give or take. We all know that Victoria here in Australia is capital of Australia for all of coronavirus, especially in Melbourne. And the worst that this virus is doing to all the people in the world, it kills all the people. We know that. If it doesn't kill us, it will be more likely a chance to just make us ill. And, of course, not being able to breathe. And in some places, especially in Victoria and especially in the United States, it is now made mandatory to wear masks by law. And I'm meaning one of those COVID masks. Because the fact being is that those masks are not only for protecting ourselves, to protect each and every one of us around this virus, or this person that's subject with this virus, from infecting each and every one of us. Because I know the intention for this virus, all it wants to do is to kill us. It wants to suffocate us. That's all it wanted. And if it doesn't kill us, or even made us ill, it can mess up our minds mentally, especially with us furries, because I'm pretty much not the only one, to be honest with you, but I'm pretty much the example of the many other furries and cosplayers that have been impacted by the virus. Not only that they know someone or their loved one had died from it, and think they hissed that no other furry had died from it, as far as I know, even though that most of us have been tested negative for it, which is good. But there's some of us that may not be lucky. In fact, that some people have been tested positive. We could probably have the virus even without us knowing it. Even though that we may not have the virus, well, I'm not tested yet. And I'm not quite sure that if I have it yet, but some of us can take a toll on us mentally. It can mess around with our minds. And it can be various things, like, you know, whether it's the money with our jobs, the fact that we lost a loved one to the virus, and, of course, the uncertainty of when this is going to be all over. There's some cases that, well, because of this virus, because of this pandemic, that it just messes up with all our plans. You know, it can be the fact that we was going to a fur convention, and to the fact being is that it's been cancelled, and to be honest with you. I know that I'm not the only one. And neither is any of you that is watching this are the only people that suffers from this virus. And I mean mentally. Because, for example, back in April, I think, I was supposed to go to Fursuit this year, as I was said, and I was supposed to meet each of those attendees in Fursuit. Turns out that because of this virus, it's been cancelled, and I've been in a very, very bad mental state. Because all I wanted to do is to see every single one of my friends and other furries who is there. I have friends that wanted to go to Furry as well, that I want to meet. I haven't met any furries since I was Comic-Con 2019, as much as I know. And that's in Sydney. It screwed it with me mentally because of the fact being is that I wanted to go to Furry this year. I wanted to meet other furries, you know. Especially that I was very excited to see the guest of honor of Furry as well, that I am a huge fan of because of their work, which is Adelaide Regal. And because of that, I never got a chance to go. And neither was any of us that attended on Furry. I mean, that are going to attend on Furry. And to be honest with you, I just felt like a bit of a emotional wreck in a couple of years and all that kind of stuff. Because I was more wanting to see my friends and other furries. And to be honest with you, knowing that I didn't meet any other furry friends in Newcastle this year, or made any, you know, or anything like that, and it really messes around with me mentally because all I wanted to do is to see my friends again and meet up with other furries. That's all I wanted to do and wanted to focus on doing. And I do admit that it got me down to a point where it's just making me to do something very, very unthinkable. I'm not going to mention it here on YouTube. I would appreciate if you do know, I would much rather you don't talk about it in the comments down below, but it's something that I just gave up thinking about doing. And I'm very, very regretful to even think about it. We're at this stage right now that, as is in Australia, many borders have been closed to each other. Whether it's down in Victoria being closed to us here in New South Wales, and the Queensland border have been closed to us in New South Wales and the ACT. You see, this virus is really taking a toll on us all. Because, you know, many of us have been now living places where being a furry, like, you know, people could hate you for being a furry and judge you. And the fact being is that there are some places that I know furries do live in where basically they're the only furry within around, give or take, the entire, how should I say, 1,000k radius. And I know that this doesn't really only affect the furry fandom and that, but it just affects the entire world because of all the sports and that. You know, not only the furry fandom, but also the cosplay community, because of the fact being is that there's so many cosplayers that want to go out into cons and that and meet their friends within the community. And I know that this virus has been causing many cons to cancel, both the cosplay community and the furry community cons. Hell, even with Anthrocon was meant to be on this year, but they too got cancelled. And Anthrocon, I'll tell you what, Anthrocon itself is a huge contributor to the economy of Pennsylvania and even Pittsburgh alone. So it doesn't really affect us because of the events we wanted to that it got cancelled, but people are now being mentally messed up because of the coronavirus, because of the the uncertainty of whether or not that they have money to survive on or to have food with as well. And to be honest with you, it's going down to a point where at this day and age, I just sort of feel that the furry fandom isn't really that much of a matter to me anymore. Sure, I do like the furry fandom still, but there's the thing, because the fact being is that, well, from as far as I know, and from as far as I got convinced by another furry, that the furry fandom is just a small bleep on a map compared to the coronavirus. I know that it's going to be this stage where everyone in this entire world needed to focus on surviving this virus and to help out those that is just suffering this terrible disease. And I know that there's been some trials for the vaccines and all that kind of stuff that we know of it now, but I'm very uncertain to when it will be released. Like all of you see, I'm very uncertain that when is the next convention that we can go to is on. Because at the moment, you know, or that we can go, or when is the next convention that we can go to is on. Because at the moment, you know, there could be some cases where we may be living in areas that contaminated with the coronavirus that we're not allowed to cross the border or any other states help, let alone leave this country because we got it. And we're just focusing on to contain this virus from ever infecting everyone, because this virus could potentially wipe the entire human race out. It could wipe us out for sure. It can be a world-ending virus if it's not controlled properly. And I know that we're just doing this to contain it and not spread. There's so many protocols out there, so many strict protocols out there that were put in place, because if it's not, then all of us might as well get sick and die. And like I said, it's going to wipe all of us out if we're not that careful. If there is concerts just still on, I got a feeling that many of us will be banned from attending furry conventions because of the area that we live in that is, how should I say, infected or contagious around there or something like that. I know that we have to socially distance and that, and to be honest with you, I think that it's going out to be the stage where the masks are made mandatory, if not encouraged. And I did my share of it, where I just ended up putting in a mask because put on a mask because the fact being is that I just don't want to end up having it, or if I do have it, I don't want to spread it to anyone. If conventions were to continue, it's just all in a matter of who can go and who can't. Simply because of all the places, or simply because of where we're living, or where we live, or areas that we live in. Because right now, as we speak, and the reason why I'm thinking that is because of the fact being is that we could be banned because, like, by the chief health officer's order, or the premier or whatever politician that's in control of these areas. And it's getting to be this point where it's that serious that we have to drop everything and survive it. I don't want to be all doom and gloom and all that kind of stuff to you, but I'm just saying what I'm thinking about this coronavirus and that, and how it would screw up a person mentally. And to be honest with you, I know that I'm not the only one. There can be others like me. And maybe if cons were to continue, I'm just hoping that the state borders and the international borders will be open to all of us, providing that we all get vaccinated, providing that the disease itself will be eradicated long gone, because this is very serious. Because, like I said again, and I'm going to say this again and again and again, and this is from what another furry had said this to me, that right now, as we do speak, the furry fandom is just a small thing in the map. It'll be this small compared to the coronavirus, which is that. I know for sure that you don't have to wear a fursuit to attend a furry convention, nor be a furry at all. But I've got this one feeling that if concerts continue, and until this virus stops, all of us have to wear a mask, at least a COVID one, to be safe. And also, I was just thinking that we all should get vaccinated as well. And if you don't get vaccinated, well, you shouldn't go. The reason why I made this video is to prove to you that you don't have to know anyone who has been tested positive even for COVID-19 to even being impacted from it. You don't need to be, this virus affects us all. And if you ever were one of those people that think that the worst thing this virus has done to you is to mess up your plans, your holiday plans and that, I know it's really trivial, but I'm just wanting to let you know that you are not the only one. There's many like us around this planet. But all we can do is to help survive this thing as much as we can, and if possible, get ourselves tested as soon as possible of it, because we can never know how else that this thing would affect us. So anyway, I'm just going to wrap it up by opening a can of beans, and I'm going to ask for a couple of questions that you can answer in the comments down below. I'm just curious to know, how has the coronavirus impacted you so far within this year? Whether it's that it just affected your mental health, or whether it's to do with your jobs or wanting to go to meet and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that you yourself have got the virus and tested positive for it. Maybe that you know someone that you have the virus. I'm very curious in that as well about that. Also, if you do like this video, please leave us a thumbs up, or if you do agree with me about what I said in this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you really do like my content so far, make sure you consider subscribing to this channel. Those that do, thank you so much to my new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Even if you are watching this video, I love and appreciate your views for that as well. Thank you so much for it. Also, there's the usual social media things and the links to different ways that you can donate to this channel or help me out financially, whether it's buying my merch at Artwork Tea, or at least donating through my Ko-fi. That would be appreciated if you do that. If you want to play me on PSN or anything, my gamer tag is on Bruzo 21. And until next time, this is the online ambassador of Black Marsh, Bruzo Dragonius, saying, I love you all. You all are amazing. Stay safe and well out there, as well as being alive out there. Please, just for yourselves and all that kind of stuff. If you do have the virus and that, please be well soon and recover from it, please. And don't die, please. And as I'm very concerned for each and every one of you. And I just wanted to leave it by saying, this is the online ambassador of Black Marsh, Bruzo Dragonius, ending up by saying, may He guide you all. Bye for now.